What's going on, you guys? This is RBG, aka the Random Black Gamer, and I have been trying to make this video for the better half of an hour now, but it has been raining cats and dogs. So if this audio sounds a bit distorted, then I apologize, but yeah, I just wanted to talk about this big topic, which is Yujiro Hanma joining Tekken 8, because a lot of people are talking about this, and it has the community split right down the middle, and I am a bit confused by that, because this seems like the obvious choice for a character to have in a fighting game, because he is, for all intents and purposes, that guy. This is the dude that you want as a guest character. I have been campaigning for Yujiro Hanma to be in a Tekken game for what feels like an eternity now, and now that it's actually come true, I thought a lot of people would have been happy about it, but for whatever reason they're upset and saying that he doesn't fit in the world of Tekken. So I just wanted to make this video to let you guys know why he absolutely does and why you should actually be excited about him. But before we do that, I want to ask you guys to do me the biggest favor and smash that like button. Yeah, I know it's a bit annoying getting this request at the very beginning of a video before you've watched it in its entirety, but YouTube's algorithm encourages it. So if you rock with your boy and you know I'm gonna bring you that awesome content, then smash that like button. But if by any chance this is the first video you've seen from me and you feel like I've wasted 10 minutes of your time that you can't get back, then hey, feel free to retract that like and give it a dislike. Just rate the video. But yeah, guys, the father of Baki, the ogre, the strongest creature alive, has finally made his way into the world of Tekken. And what's funny is that this announcement has come hot off of the heels of Harada's departure from Bandai Namco, meaning that we got Yujiro before we even got that Waffle House stage for Tekken. But hey, at least my guy got to experience the location for himself. And with him making his way over to SNK, maybe there's a way that he can work out a deal to where the Waffle House appears into a Fatal Fury or a King of Fighters game. Like, you already know that Saudi money goes far, I'm just saying. But getting back on topic to Yujiro Hanma, this character is immensely popular among anime and fighting game fans because he just represents the pinnacle of the overpowered, untouchable antagonist trope. The lore around his birth and the survivalist feats he has, like out-muscling an apex predator with his bare hands, has become a thing of legends in pop culture. Like, the dude killed a massive prehistoric-sized elephant and then proceeded to cook it and eat it. It's because of things like that that he's been heavily circulated in the internet culture, with clips, TikToks, and even memes frequently highlighting his absurd feats of strength and his complete and total disregard for the laws of physics. And I gotta admit, I would be lying to you guys if I said that I wasn't surprised at the popularity that this guy has generated, as well as the Baki series in general, because as a longtime fan, I always felt like Baki the Grappler was a very niche and underground concept, because back in the heyday of the 2000s when I was reading the manga and watching the anime religiously, I didn't really see that many people talking about it like that. If anything, I was the spokesperson that championed the property and was trying to get more people to watch it. And mind you, this is around the time the anime only covered about 40% of the manga, only going up to the Ultimate Tournament saga. It would take us almost 20 years to receive a new adaptation that would pick up where the last one left off, which is where Netflix stepped in. And I'm under the assumption that that's where the popularity came from, because nobody mentions the previous 2001 series. They only talk about the Netflix series, which is a cardinal sin, because I feel like you're only getting half of the experience, especially if you don't know all the events that have taken place for Baki to get to where he is in the Netflix series. But hey, it is what it is. Netflix is a very popular streaming service, and it did an exceptional job of getting Baki to a wider audience. Like, we're living in an era where I can only describe it as the Baki Renaissance, or the Baki-sans. This resurgence of a fighting manga slash anime that has everybody talking, and now that ripple effect has made its way over to Tekken 8, a title that started off white hot upon its announcement but has since been mired in negative attention and backlash due to things like the heat system as well as the lack of player support. It seems like the developers just don't want to listen to the players, and they have been moving at a snail's pace to address certain issues. Top of that, on to the fact that one of the most requested guest characters, Tifa Lockhart, has been rumored to go to Street Fighter 6 as opposed to Tekken 8, then you see why there's so much negative attention going towards it. But receiving the announcement that Yujiro is going to be in this latest season has essentially made up for that, and it's been reflected in the huge uptick in purchases for Tekken 8 over on Steam. But that hasn't stopped the naysayers from saying that his inclusion in the game is a stupid idea and he simply doesn't fit. Like, I can't even begin to tell you how many brain cells I've lost looking at some of the comments over on Twitter, which I try to stay away from because that's just a place where people love to be miserable. They love complaining about any and everything, and Yujiro is the latest addition to all of these complaints, not only from these randoms over on Twitter, Twitter, but also some of the big names within the Tekken community. I've seen one of the guys that I respect the most have a big issue against Yujiro's inclusion in Tekken 8, which is the main man Sui, a guy who I've always championed as one of the best Kazuya players for any Tekken game. It doesn't matter if it's an old or a new game. And you would think that a guy that loves playing with the Mishimas would absolutely love Yujiro, but no, it's actually the opposite. This dude doesn't have anything nice to say about Yujiro or the Baki franchise. He has said that it's stupid and it's nonsensical and it doesn't necessarily fit the world of Tekken.
So we're gonna get a character from the world's dumbest show, the strongest creature on earth, Yujiro Hanma. I don't know how I feel about this. It has its charm in that it's so god-awful stupid.
But I would argue that stupid and nonsensical basically sums up Tekken in a nutshell, because that's essentially what it is. It's all those things wrapped into one, and that's why we adore it so much. Now, was it always that way? I would say no. It felt a lot more tame compared to what we see nowadays, but we've essentially reached the point of no return with some of the things that we've seen in Tekken. Well, we have this crazy family dynamic and a history of people throwing their kids off of cliffs, only for that kid to return back with a vengeance in a demon form. And top of that off with some of the other wacky dynamics like a dinosaur wearing boxing gloves and a long-time one-sided romantic drama between a bear and a panda. Yeah, I could say that yes, this works. And all these things are not necessarily foreign to the world of Baki the Grappler, because we've seen similar instances of Baki going up against a giant man-ape as well as a prehistoric caveman. I mean, both universes practically mirror each other, where they blend hyper-realistic martial arts with larger-than-life absurd physical feats. And as the strongest creature on Earth from Baki, Yujiro's monstrous power and toxic father-son dynamics mirror Tekken's Mishima family saga. Unlike guest characters who rely on swords, firearms, or magical powers, Yujiro strictly relies on his pure combat prowess and superhuman anatomy. His fighting style perfectly aligns with Tekken's traditional hand-to-hand combat system. Like, one of the things that I've always said is how Yujiro seems like he could be a distant cousin of the Mishima family, because some of his moves look similar, such as his over-exaggerated axe kick where he raises his leg so high up in the air and proceeds to come down with it like he's trying to decapitate his opponents. As soon as character customization was introduced into Tekken, I instantly went to Kazuya and tried to make him look like Yujiro. The same goes for the rest of the characters within the Baki universe. When it came to Heihachi, I tried to make him look like Orochi Doppo, and then you had the character of Fang Wei, who has a striking resemblance to that of Retsukayo. All of these characters look like they were already inspired by the ones from the Baki universe. Given the fact that Tekken has a history of adding in guest characters who also double as villains / boss characters, I feel like Yujiro's arrogant personality and raw aura would make him the perfect fit for a Tekken villain. It definitely wouldn't be the first time he served as a guest / boss character in a high profile fighting game title. Games like Guard and Break Blow, Fist or Twist instantly come to mind, which in my honest opinion should actually serve as the blueprint on how to translate Yujiro's moveset to Tekken, because Yujiro is the de facto ultimate fighter. He has mastered virtually every martial art known to man, from karate and boxing to judo and wrestling, and his vast repertoire gives the developers a limitless sandbox to build a diverse and fluid moveset in the game. But anyways, another argument that I've heard fans say against Yujiro being in the game is the fact that his design philosophy does not properly align with the aesthetic that the Tekken 8 characters have. They say that the illustrator Kisuke Itagaki's style looks too over-exaggerated and that the muscles are disproportionate, which I have to call BS and say that you haven't been following Tekken at all if you're going to argue this, because Tekken has been the king of disproportionate characters. One of the biggest complaints that I had is that post Tekken 6 the characters' body proportions have gotten out of hand. Almost all of the male characters had the same beefy muscular bodies and they didn't look distinctive from one another anymore, but Tekken 8 has since addressed that, and we actually have a character that looks like they could have been ripped out of Kisuke Itagaki's manga in the form of Fakuram. And I just gotta say that the graphics engine for Tekken 8 is only gonna complement Yujiro even more, especially with how they accentuate the muscles on their characters and show the different contractions. That detail in and of itself is gonna make Yujiro look the best he ever has in any form of media. I'm talking anime or video games. Like, the demon muscles on his back is gonna look insane. But anyways guys, the last last and final argument that I've seen a lot of naysayers say on why Yujiro shouldn't be in the game is the fact that Bandai never adds typical anime and manga characters to the main roster, to which I'm just gonna say that that's a complete lie, and I feel like you guys have the memory of a goldfish, because if you actually did have good memory, you would remember the fact that we actually had Gon in Tekken 3, who just so happens to be a manga character. Yeah, if there was ever a character who should have never been in a Tekken game, it would be him, because he was this tiny fire-breathing dinosaur who had one of the worst hitboxes. Not only was this character extremely OP with things like gas attacks, but he was also very goofy. So I don't want to hear any complaints about stupid and nonsensicalness when it comes to Yujiro, because that's nothing new when it comes to Tekken. We've had that with not only the Mishima family, but also guest characters such as Gon, who should have never been in a Tekken game. So yeah, that's just a video that I wanted to make, because I just see so many people going ham and acting like Yujiro simply doesn't fit when he actually does. But what are your thoughts? Are you happy that we're getting Yujiro Hanma? Do you feel like this could actually lead to us getting even more characters from Baki, such as Baki himself? Let me know in the comment section below. As always, I ask that you like or dislike the video. It doesn't have to be a thumbs up, it can be a thumbs down. But if you really enjoyed this video, it would help me out tremendously if you shared it with all your different followers and all the different social media outlets. Sharing really makes a difference. But once again, this is RBG, aka the Random Black Gamer, signing out on another video. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.